If your mail stops working, you might need to patch Exim.
So Andy, I understand you've got a story about a vulnerability in Exim.
I do. Exim's in the news again. Not for good things, unfortunately. But this time around, Exim's in the news again for potential remote code execution, but also denial of service is the predominant one. So Exim is a very popular mail service. It's mail software built for Unix-like systems. So you see it on Linux boxes, you see it on Mac OS, you can see it on Windows with Cygwin installed. So a Chinese group, actually, a Chinese team, QAX A-Team, CAX A-Team, Quax A-Team, however you actually pronounce it, they actually discovered the vulnerability. And what it is it's a heap-based buffer overflow vulnerability. In the there's a file in the file that handles the acceptance of the EHLO command, which is the extended hello. That sort of initiates the SMTP communication. So what you can do is you can send this extraordinarily long string in that packet, and it causes the whole system to shut down, Exim to shut down. So there's your denial of service there. And technical details were scant in the article. I wasn't able to dig up any sort of exact details on how it would lead to remote code execution, but the article does state that the team that discovered the vulnerability, they alluded to the fact that it could be used for remote code execution. So that would be, I think, the second RCE remote code execution vulnerability that Exim was in the news for as of late, which isn't good. But one of the things that I found interesting about the article was because Exim is so widely used, it's free software, so it's going to be used everywhere. There's a lot of attack surface there. So if you look on Shodan, you'll find that there's about 5 million internet addressable Exim mail servers sitting out there. So there's a lot of toys to play with if you're a bad guy with this sort of thing.
Interesting. The double free lends itself easily to a denial of service, but it takes a true skilled hacker to make that a remote code execution vulnerability, a reliable one.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, it's probably possible, but it's a lot harder to build that reliable exploit.
That's going to be the main action. The article does mention that there's no exploit for it now, but the proof of concept is there. So you're right, and that it would take a skilled attacker to turn that into a remote code execution attack, and then enslave all these guys and turn all these guys into a nice big botnet. But until then, it's going to be a lot of down mail servers.
Yes, and it reminds me of actually, I think something we talked about maybe the last time on ThreatTraq as well, is some malware strain impacting servers where they suspected that an Exim vulnerability was in play. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a play on that, or something related, or something similar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's still going.
This is like the third or fourth one this year. They had a big patch in July. They had one in June. And I was noticing in the article that of those 5 million, the vast majority of them were still not patched with the patch from July. So there are an awful lot of vulnerable systems out there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why, because with the advice we always give on the show is patch, and then patch again. Always patch your systems, but maybe it's something where you don't really think about your mail server as an attack vector. It's just sort of you set it up and it works and it runs and you're good to go.
Your enterprise relies on email moving in and out, so it's one of those where you may actually find a lot of companies are a little slow to patch because they need to find a maintenance window because you don't want to interrupt business and that kind of thing. So it could be kind of tricky and that may be why some of them have been slow to patch. But with another vulnerability here that can be easily exploited for denial of service, you'd hope that they'd get it patched quickly now.
Yeah, that'd be the main takeaway for folks out there who have Exim running their mail, is find that window and get it updated, get it patched. So you want to make sure that you patch your Exim systems. There is a patch available. As soon as it was discovered, the researchers responsibly disclosed that to the manufacturer, to Exim, and a patch was issued. So you want to make sure you patch your system so that your mail can continue to work.